Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Welcome to Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast.
You sound a little depressed today. You want to tell us why?
I got eliminated. From the league.
Well, you can join the Losers Club.
I tried very valiantly. If I took a screenshot of our game before and posted it on Twitter and chose a side to pick for the winner, it probably would have been my team, but fantasy football hates me, so I lose in the playoffs every year.
Julian
despite
Edelman
the fact that
getting you 1 point.
What is it? 3 out of the last 4 years I've had the scoring title, and freaking.
Nah, because I won 3 straight.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did win 3 straight. No, so I've won 2 out of the last 3.
You've won 2 out of the last 3, yes.
Okay. Anyway, but that scoring titles don't matter if you don't win real titles.
Yep.
Kind of blows. Welcome to Fantasy.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say.
Go ahead.
I have no emotion whatsoever because I didn't even think I'd make the playoffs. So.
Oh, boy. Welcome to Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. It is Tuesday, December 17th. Oh, I almost said 12th. I don't even know why that almost came out. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon right across from me. And despite me losing, we have Fantasy Championships coming up this week. And we're going to...
So if you weren't like us...
go ahead.
And you actually won... You get to play a championship game this week.
Yeah, that's true. And a secondary consolation prize for me would be for you to win your fantasy championships, because that means that I gave some right advice.
Yeah.
Maybe not to myself, but you people. Today we got a lot to get to. Waiver wire ads for Week 16, streaming options. We're going to give you some quick reactions from Week 15, and then we'll start with the news. Before we get into the news, be sure to do the following. Check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter at @theFFChamps, on Instagram at @thefantasychampions. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/thefantasychampions. Subscribe wherever you listen. Click the bell on YouTube for notifications if you want notifications whenever we post a video. Leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Let's get to the news first. We had some AJ Green news that we'll get to later in this section. I know I didn't put it all in here, so I'm just reminding you to remind me to talk about it.
We'll see how that goes.
So the Cardinals GM, Stephen Keim, last week was talking about David Johnson and wouldn't commit to bringing him back in 2020. This game on Sunday by Kenyan Drake, which we'll probably talk about a little later as well, would lead me to believe that they're probably going to move on from David Johnson. That would mean that we have some hot movers on the market. Kenyan Drake. We got David Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon might be on the move. His contract's up, right?
Melvin Gordon's contract is up, yes.
So we got some big running backs coming out. It's going to be interesting to see where these guys fall. Not to mention the likes of DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, and others in the NFL draft class. So those teams, i.e. the Houston Texans, if they want to replace Lamar Miller.
There's a chance Le'Veon Bell gets traded to...
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Le'Veon Bell, he gets traded back to Pittsburgh.
We'll see.
I don't think anybody's going to trade for Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, not with that contract.
The Jets made their bed. They got to lay in it. So... but it's interesting that I read the whole quote for Steve Keim, if I'm saying that right. And he did not, he was very hesitant to say he was bringing back David Johnson. So
unless he's like Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, unless he's like Cliff Kingsbury and he's completely lying to us. I think it's likely that he leaves.
Yeah.
I think they like Kenyan Drake better.
Especially
Not
the way...
that he leaves, but they get rid of him.
The way that Drake has played, too, the last few weeks, I don't see David Johnson coming back.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked.
I don't think David Johnson's the type of person to say, I need all the snaps and all the reps to be going to get that. Like, I think he's fine splitting with somebody, but I just think they want to give it to one person.
Yeah.
Would be my assumption.
Which is great for fantasy.
Yeah, great for fantasy. Kyle Mankey of MLive.com, masslive.com, Don't type in Mass. You got to type in M Live. I'm not advertising for this company, but I want to make sure we're going to the right place. He said it sounds like Kerryon Johnson is going to return week 16 against the Broncos.
Is he a must play?
So now you can, in your 5th place spot,
Yeah, baby.
you can start him.
Since Dalvin Cook is probably done.
Yeah. Kerryon has been, what has he been out for 8 weeks now?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good to have Kerryon back.
I think it's
if he plays. I think it's stupid.
Yeah. It is.
What's the point?
What is the point?
Like, just putting fantasy
Just tank
football.
and get a top pick. You're not gonna win. You've won 3 games all year, or 4 games, whatever it is.
I know. That's insane. It doesn't make sense to bring him
Just
back.
sit him out.
Sit him out. Giants coach Pat Shermer.
What was his name?
Said Eli Manning could start the team's final 2 games. Now, you know what? As much a hate as Eli Manning gets, did you see the nice moment he had at the end of the last game? He at the end of his interview walked off the field to a
That was great.
to a 1/3, probably 1/16 filled stadium cheering for him, and he waved himself off the field and hugged his family with his brothers and his. Well, I don't think Peyton was at the game, but with his dad and his mom sitting in the expensive booth up there.
Yeah.
Whatever. So it was nice to see that. I feel like they're moving on from Eli. This is official. Like that whole moment's kind of, he's not going to be on the Giants next year.
He's not going to be in the league next year. I don't think.
You don't think he's going to be in the league?
No.
You don't think Denver will?
Dude,
they're so stupid. They'll do it. They have Drew Lock, and they'll be like, "No, we got to let this guy simmer on low for a little while. We're going to go out and get Eli."
it's a favor to Peyton.
It's a favor to Peyton. You could be right. He could just straight up and retire.
The Giants did win this week. He's 2-0 as a starter. Although they played the Dolphins and he threw 3 picks.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, Eli.
He threw 2
He's so
touchdowns,
bad.
though. And 3 picks.
Okay, so last
But
year,
I
defended.
Barkley ran for almost 200 yards. Is how they won.
Yeah, I defended Eli last year because I felt like people were a little bit too harsh on him. But after seeing him in a short amount of games this year, he's just bad.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just what else did you expect from him with no wide receivers?
He's got wide receivers now though. Golden Tate, Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard. Evan Ingram still hasn't played since like week 10, but he does have some guys.
I got a question for you. Who has a better receiving core, the New England Patriots, the New York Giants?
It might be the Giants.
Oh boy.
When everybody is healthy on both sides, I'd probably say the Giants.
Wow. Anyway, yeah. So Eli could start the last 2 games. We're not sure. I would not call Eli a league winner or anybody that you would want in fantasy. So there's that. The Dolphins signed. Finally, after many years of waiting, Devontae Parker has a breakout season, and they're going to sign him 4 years.
Hey, there you go.
$40 million. So new extension for Devontae Parker, which means he's going to be in Miami for more years, which I don't like for fantasy. According to Jason La Canfora, Odell Beckham is not planning to request a trade at the end of this season. He also plans to play in the Browns' final 2 games, even though he has this groin situation happening, and the fact that he has also a hernia, which I think is it the same injury.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he plans on playing the final 2 games. Give me a percentage. What's the percentage chance? We have all offseason to discuss this, but what is the percentage chance in the early depiction of Odell's offseason that he gets traded to a new team?
I think it's under 50, but it's close to it.
See, I would say like 10%. It's hard to trade a guy
Oh,
like
really?
that. Yeah.
I'd say it's like I was going to say like
Patriots,
35.
The Patriots might fork over.
If I was a betting man, I'd say he would not get traded. But
even better, the Patriots wouldn't fork over. I know who would.
Who?
Oakland Raiders.
Oh yeah.
All day.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
They would go after him all day.
He'd be like, "Oh, well, look, another average white quarterback."
Yeah. he's trash. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reports that A.J. Green has not been ruled out for Week 16 and 17, but we got news right before this show.
Yeah, Adam Schefter tweeted. So this was like 24 minutes ago. Although we do pre-record, so this is...
Yes.
You probably already knew this, but...
Yep.
He tweeted, AJ Green visited...
Unless you're shocked and you're like, wow, this
with
is
a noted foot specialist, Dr. Robert Anderson. If Green is in...
the foot specialist.
Yeah. So he said, if Green is in Green Bay today with a foot doctor, which he is, hard to imagine he'll return this season.
That sounds like an Adam Schefter take.
So, yeah, it's kind of, but it sounds like he's not expected to play the rest of the season.
Yeah, I saw this report from Ian Rappaport. I love how Adam Schefter gets Ian Rappaport's reports and then background checks them and completely destroys them in a world of fire. Because he's a psychopath. He loves to do that.
I know.
Anyway, it's the battle between Ian Rappaport and Adam
But even
Schefter
Rappaport didn't say he would play. He just said he hasn't been ruled out, which is true. He hasn't technically been ruled out. But
when I saw this news that he might play in Week 16 and 17, I'm like, how stupid can you be if you're the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah.
Like, you held him out all season. You have one win, and you're going to try to play your star wide receiver in Week 16 and 17. Like, what's the point? He's been out for an entire season. He's going into free agency, right?
He might be.
Why not just leave him alone?
He's starting to get up there, isn't he?
He is. What is he in his 30s now?
He's 31, and he's going to turn 32 in July.
So, I mean, for me, it's like, why not just hold him out the rest of the season and then try to sign him on a smaller contract, then let him go out for 2 games, blow it up, and have everyone line up to pay for him. Not that that's going to happen, but you get my drift.
Yeah.
I don't see why you should send him out there. It doesn't make any sense. Jay Glazer reports that the Chiefs are, quote, nervous, unquote, about Patrick Mahomes suffering further damage to his injured throwing hand. What does that mean?
Who knows? He did torch up the Broncos this week. He only threw 2 touchdowns, but he had like 400 yards on like 20-something.
90% sure that Tyreek Hill was using Stickum, but that's all right.
Because it was snowing?
Yeah, it was snowing. And what did he get? 2 touchdowns and 100-something yards?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. It's actually not that hard for quarterbacks to throw in the snow.
Mahomes had, 27 of 34.
How many fantasy points did he have?
In our league, he had 24.
In normal leagues?
He probably had like 22. Because he had 2 touchdown passes, so you would -2, right?
Wow, what happened to Mahomes?
I mean, 24 is still pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's not bad.
In the snow against the...
Just like
the 9th... Well, you know what's happened to him?
3 games of the season, 30-30-30.
I think if you look at his schedule, too, he's played New England, Denver.
Yeah.
The Chargers, who rank 4th against quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. Denver
again. And then Houston was a good matchup. He got 20+. The one game where he had a good matchup and didn't get 20+ was Detroit in week 4.
Right.
But he still... And that was only because he didn't have a touchdown. He threw for 315 yards that game.
As a fantasy owner, should you be concerned about the hand situation?
Maybe, but like from Mahomes...
Not in the prospect of he's going to suck because he has a hand injury.
Week.
I'm talking about what if the Chiefs shut him down for the last 2 games?
They're not going to do that. Maybe week 17.
I mean, what?
Maybe week 17.
Do they really think the New England Patriots... I mean, they could lose to the Bills, but do they think they're going to lose to Miami?
That's why I said week 17. Because if the Pats lose to the Bills, wouldn't they be...
They would want to play Mahomes. They would be number 1, but they would still have to win a game if the Pats beat Miami and
which is why
Chiefs
they
lost because they started Matt Moore.
Which is why, yeah.
My assumption would be, I don't know, if they set him out, because week 17 doesn't matter to us unless you have a week 17 championship. Then it does matter.
Yeah,
but
which there are leagues that do.
For the sake of this argument,
this week, no.
For this week, if they, yeah, okay, because I mean, them being concerned about his hand would lend me to believe that they would want to sit him for some period of time, right?
Well, if they get the bye.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think... Trust me, as a fantasy analyst, I'm not going to say he's going to be out. So no. I would just keep an eye on him.
Although I don't like his... I really don't like his matchup this week.
Yeah.
In Chicago.
Ugh. Well, I mean, it's not great.
Who ranks 7th against quarterbacks?
They've fallen way down. They've actually gone up. They went to 9, and then they're going
They
back
held
up.
Rodgers to 13 this week.
Yeah, Rodgers blows.
Yeah. He was my set of the week.
Chris Godwin, Went down, looked pretty bad. Got the cart out, threw him on the cart. It turns out it's just a hamstring injury. He's not going to return for week 15. I'm gonna say, Bruce Arians. I'm sorry. There's a one asterisk that I put underneath it. Bruce Arians admitted that Chris Godwin's hamstring injury doesn't look good. There were rumors floating around that Chris Godwin could miss the rest of the season.
I was going to say, I did see a tweet. It wasn't from like Rappaport or Schefter or anything like verified. That, but I don't remember if he was even verified. But he did. He said he doesn't think that Godwin's going to play against.
Yeah, I would agree. He's not going to play this week,
especially because they're out of the playoffs.
He's not going to play. Why does it say week 15 against the Lions? They played the Lions this week. I'm sorry. This is what happens when I copy paste headlines.
Yeah,
that was the game he wasn't returning to on Sunday. He's not expected to play week 16, not week 15
against the Houston Texans.
So, I don't like
another receiver gone for the year.
I don't like him coming back this year. I don't think he will at all.
No.
The hamstring injury is
that usually does take, like Adam Thielen.
Yeah, 2-3 weeks. So
no, I mean for Thielen, and if
depending
it's
on the
usually
type of
like
injury.
2-3 weeks, and then you could come back too soon, like Adam Thielen did, re-injure it, and because of that, he's missed like 10 games.
And the Buccaneers are out, right?
They're 7-7, so I think they are.
Okay.
Because
keep
the
an eye on
wild card in the West.
The big thing is this is the last week. So this is technically speaking, like I said, if you don't, I'm gonna just assume that everyone's championship is week 16. This is the last week. Chris Godwin's not gonna play. There's really nothing you should think about. Like if you're in a league and you need to pick up a guy, I would obviously make sure that they're not fibbing and just drop Chris Godwin.
If you're at the spot though where your starting receiver goes down, you have to pick up someone off the waiver wire to replace them.
Yeah, but you're in the championship. Anything can happen. I got toasted
I feel like
this week. And
you should have someone on your bench for this already. But
yeah. Like
if not,
so I have Chris Godwin. If I was in the championship, I also have Julian Edelman.
I was just gonna say you could just put in Kenyan Drake at your flex.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Julian Edelman has a terrible matchup against Cincinnati. I was gonna bench him for like Kenyan Drake or.
Who does Robert Woods play?
Devonta Freeman. Yeah, no, I almost.
San Francisco.
Oh, flip. Yeah, I was gonna say I'd rather. So I'd probably put Julian in my wide receiver 2 position and then slide Kenyan Drake in my flex.
That's what I would do.
But yeah, I mean, you probably have something. Let's hope you picked up AJ Brown.
Yeah.
NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reported that Panthers are expected to start third-round rookie quarterback Will Grier.
Oh, we'll see.
That is actually exciting to me because they drafted this guy to start, and then they said, oh, he's not ready, and then didn't play him, and then Kyle Allen went in and won 5 straight games, and they're like, this is the replacement, this is the future.
And then he lost like 8 straight.
I know.
How many games have the Panthers lost in a row?
I have no idea. They didn't win this week, right?
They lost again this week, yes.
I think it was 8 straight.
Because
they weren't 5-0. They were like 5-1.
I'm going to look this up because I'm just curious now.
Might be 6.
They lost 1, 2. Oh, you know what? They won 1 game in between there.
Oh, okay.
Big losing streak. So.
Yeah, it's safe to say Kyle Allen blows. It was funny.
They have lost 6 in a row, though.
Somebody in my family was sitting there watching the Panthers game on their laptop, and every 5 minutes it was, Kyle Allen, another interception. I was like, wow, dude.
Yeah,
he threw like 4 picks in that game.
He started off good. They 4-0 as a starter.
Yeah,
and he had like 8 touchdowns and no picks. So he was getting like 2 touchdowns a game, not throwing an interception. It was doing good, and then just absolutely choked it up.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see Will Grier this week.
Yeah,
that's what I'll be watching.
I am too. I hope he's good.
Yeah, I hope he's good too. Mike Silver reports that Jarvis Landry is one of, quote, this is a bombshell, quote, multiple Browns, unquote, who yelled, "Come get me," to the Cardinals sideline on Sunday.
Ugh.
Now, what's funny about this is that the Browns are what, 6-8?
Yeah.
And the Cardinals are 4 and
yeah, the Cardinals.
And they don't even want. They want to go to the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's what everybody was saying. Like the Cardinals, you want to go to the
Cardinals? Yeah,
the Cardinals do look like they're going to be really good though, and like.
Yeah. I mean, if people figure out Cliff Kingsbury, he actually kind of adapted his whole offense, but that's besides the point. So, Jarvis Landry wants out, is what the report is. This is kind of becoming a cluster frick for the Browns.
Yeah.
Because they all really liked each other to start the year, and now they're just like,
this happened.
Just Baker won. Does Baker want out now?
Who's gonna want Baker? The Pats.
Honestly, yes. If I was the Pats, I'd make large offers for Baker Mayfield. I would sell the next 5 years for his.
You probably wouldn't even have to even come close to doing that.
No, honestly,
you could probably get him for just a single first right now.
Not two.
I don't even think you would take the way he's played this year. He has more interceptions than touchdowns, I think.
Look it up. Yeah, dude, I would offer a first round pick to get him in a system that makes sense for him.
Mayfield has
whether not that the
he has 17 touchdowns and 17 interceptions.
Wow,
that is so bad.
Very unfortunate. But it's interesting that everyone is jumping ship on the Cleveland Browns. At the beginning of the season, the Browns fans thought they had hope, and now it's been ripped away.
I know.
Mike Zimmer, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, said, "Yeah, it feels good today." When asked whether Dalvin Cook's shoulder could play, whether he could play through his shoulder injury, what does that even mean, Mike Zimmer? Yeah, it feels good today. Okay, like you are Dalvin Cook's body. I know. He's like, well,
how does Dalvin
feels
Cook,
good today?
How is Dalvin Cook feeling with the shoulder injury? It feels good today. You know, wait, hold on. Let me move it real quick. All right, yeah, it feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking.
Wow. He
killed most fantasy. I mean, I was out of the playoffs already, so it didn't matter. But most people that had Dalvin Cook
murdered.
Yeah, he murdered them this week.
Dalvin Cook,
expecting like 20 out of them.
He was one of those guys.
First quarter.
Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, and Lamar Jackson are the three players that most people this week are well, I mean, with Dalvin Cook getting 5 points, I'm not sure I could say that about Dalvin anymore. But those three guys are the reason why most teams this week are playing in Week 16.
Yeah.
And so if Dalvin doesn't play, you're
Dalvin
toast.
Also lost a lot of games this week, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is that if you somehow won and you have Dalvin Cook going into the championship game,
he was probably the reason he got you there.
You're toast.
Yeah,
but I don't think that you made the fantasy championship with Dalvin Cook unless your team was like
you had a great week other than him. Yeah,
but I don't know. I would keep an eye on the Dalvin Cook situation. I don't know that I would be excited about him playing.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
So if he re-injured his shoulder, that's a problem. And the final piece of news, Coach Matt LaFleur said, I think you'll see more of Jake Kumaro in the future.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't even know what I want to say to that other than no.
Yeah, no.
Let's get into quick reactions, unless you have any other news.
No.
Okay. We'll discuss our biggest thoughts from Week 15. One of the things that I picked up on and I noticed it was hard not to notice. Julio Jones is, 10 catch, 113.
13 catches.
13 catch, 130 yards.
How many targets he had?
Plus, how many?
Guess.
20.
Yeah,
plus.
he had 20.
Are you serious?
He had 20 targets.
Flip. That's crazy. 13 catches. This was bound to happen with the absence of Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
It was bound to happen. I think
San Francisco, though?
Well, I didn't expect him to go off, like 2 touchdowns, 130 yards. But you knew he was going to get targeted a lot.
Yeah.
That was like the main reason why to start him this week. You know what I mean?
So, most people... I actually even saw on Fantasy Football Twitter, somebody ranked their very early 2020 rankings.
Oh, no.
And they ranked Julio as the 21st wide receiver going into next year. Before this week. And not just him, but a lot of people had him like outside the top 10.
I was going to say,
receivers.
Like, I was thinking about it today, and I was like, where do I rank? Because
he just went from like 16 to 7.
We've talked about this
game.
before. We're going to talk about that. We've talked about this before off the show.
Yeah.
How hard it's going to be, and maybe even on the show, how hard it's going to be to rank running backs and wide receivers this year. Because there is so much fluctuation from last year into this year that it's just like literally the top 5 coming into the draft is completely different than the top 5 what you're going to get at the end of the year. You know what I mean? Like Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry. Like there's two guys that were drafted in the top 5 this year that are going to finish in the top 5. Zeke and McCaffrey.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So it's like, what guys are still in the top 5? Can you still consider Alvin Kamara in the top 5 of running backs?
Yeah, that's hard.
You know what I mean? Or at wide receiver. Julio Jones has had a really bad year. It's obvious that Calvin Ridley is going to take a lot, like not really bad, but
he gets like 10 a week.
Right. If is Calvin Ridley going to take more and more away from
and
Julio?
Hooper too.
And Hooper from Julio to the point where he can't be that high-end wide receiver 1 that you used to get. I'm right now hovering right around 6 or 7 with Julio.
Among wide receivers.
Among wide receivers, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's early, obviously. We're still in the 2019 season, going into next year. A lot of things can change, but it's just how much of a quantitative leap that you see from Calvin Ridley next year. If he takes a big leap, then I just think it's funny that you paid all this money for this wide receiver, and now you have other wide receivers cheaper to do the job. And it's like, or not even wide receivers, but tight ends, wide receivers, like other options in your offense to go to besides Julio. I guess that's a good thing if you want to get to the playoffs.
Which is weird because the Falcons are such a... I mean, they beat the 49ers this week, but all season have been such a crappy team, so...
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what to do with Julio moving forward next year, but I think as of right now, if you have Julio and you're in the championship week, I think you're okay.
Oh, yeah, I would love it right now because...
Who's he playing this week?
No Calvin Ridley. I have to pull it up again.
Bruh.
He is playing...
Be prepared.
I'm always prepared, bro. Jacksonville at home.
Interesting. That's not a bad matchup.
No,
it's not a great matchup, but... yeah, I mean, it's going to be... If Julio is going to get targeted 15 and 20 times, then you'll be all right.
Yeah.
He'll come down with at least 9. You know what I mean? Like, that's... It may not look pretty, but you'll get 9. So... But he was finally Julio after waiting all season. Kenyan Drake put down a happy slammer of 39 fantasy points. And if you started him, which... was there a lot of teams out there that started him? Because
not a ton.
Fantasy football Twitter was like, "Oh, this guy won you the game." I'm like, "Who was starting Kenyan Drake?" Like, can you?
There was some.
Did I miss something? Like,
there were some people starting him as a flex.
See,
There just wasn't a ton.
I lost my fantasy week this week and didn't make it to the championship. I can tell you
how many people started him on NFL.com.
Julian Edelman had 1 point. And going into Sunday, I woke up in the morning and I was like, you know what? Julian might not play today. Maybe they're going to make him like limited or something like that, and he's just not going to get a lot of work. And I was like, maybe I should start Kenyan. No, I can't do that. So I kept Julian in the game, and he got 1 point, and Kenyan Drake got 39.
So Kenyan Drake was in NFL.com. He's owned in 90% of leagues.
Okay.
And he was started in 45%.
So he did.
So half the people that own Drake started him.
He had more fantasy points this week than Lamar Jackson.
Jeez.
So
no,
if
he
you
didn't. Yeah.
Yes, but in
most leagues, yeah.
Normal leagues.
Not in our league though.
Not 6 and 5 touchdown quarterback leagues. Drake went freaking ham in that game. 4 touchdowns, over 100 yards, I believe, all purpose. So
the 4 touchdowns is just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's like Aaron Jones 3 times this year. But so here's my question for you: can Kenyan Drake be a legitimate RB1 next year?
If David Johnson leaves and he's by himself in Arizona, I think he can be. Not a high end, but I think like
finally,
like I would say like a low end RB1. But so, yes.
I know one of my hot takes, and we're gonna have a show in a couple of weeks about takes that we got right and takes that we got wrong. But one of my takes early in the off season, or maybe even later, I think it was in our bold prediction show, that Kenyan Drake was going to be an RB1. That was when he was with Miami.
Yeah.
And so him getting traded, I'm not too far off. He's at RB20 right now, and if he has a decent end of the season, and he gets into the top 15, I really wasn't that far away.
Yeah.
This time last year, weeks 1 through 15, you know who was right around 20 as well?
Who?
Chris Carson.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I actually would compare Kenyan Drake to.
So we're going to have to see where Drake goes in the next couple weeks to see if he continues to ascend, because he had 22 carries. Like, they don't give the ball to him on the ground at all.
No.
Like, on a normal week, it's like maybe 12 to 15. It's not even because somebody else is getting the work. It's just because they pass it 60 times. It's ridiculous. I think he could be a legitimate RB1 next year. Low end, like you said, but somebody who could actually do decent things for your team. And, I mean, I think in the offseason, you're going to see some crazy overreaction to Kenyan Drake if David Johnson gets traded, and Kenyan Drake's going to end up being like a third-round pick.
Yeah.
And that's just my way too early takes, but
that could happen.
You can see that, and then you're sitting here going,
he probably will be a third-round pick.
Why did I draft Kenyan Drake in the third round?
He probably will be.
And I love Kenyan Drake.
I mean, look at the guys that got drafted in the third round this year, like Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah. But, I mean, Kerryon at least had like a mid to high-end RB2 season last year. You know what I mean? Kerryon and Aaron Jones. So it's like, and Leonard Fournette, and like Kenyan Drake. He could be a mid to high-end RB2 this year, but very inconsistent. Like, he'd have to have another 39-point week to get to that point. You know what I mean? He's not far away from it, but he needs a lot of good things to happen. But anyway, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I really hope he's like a 5th or a 6th round pick, because that would be the money spot.
Right.
Miles Sanders finally having a fantastic week in fantasy. The breakout week that everyone's been waiting for happened.
It's just every time that he plays a crappy team, pretty much. Like when he played the Redskins, he got 20. Then he had a bad week against, I think it was the Pats or some good team, and everybody was like, "Oh, Miles Sanders blows. He's not that good." And now he plays the Redskins and he gets 32.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, it was the Giants. He had 19 against the Giants, and you had the exact same question. You were like, "Is this the Miles Sanders breakout game?" And I was like, "Well, it's against the Dolphins." And then he had 9 against the Giants. Everybody faded him again. And then this week against the Redskins, without Jordan Howard, he goes off, which is what he can do. I think in good matchups. Without Jordan Howard,
the big thing is the Eagles have blown this year.
Yeah,
very bad. They have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, personnel wise. I don't know why they don't play well together most of the time.
I know, it's weird.
But anyway, Miles, that was the basis of the Miles Sanders versus David Montgomery argument in the offseason last year. Was Miles Sanders is going to be a better running back than David Montgomery because he has a better offense and a better offensive line. So he ultimately might not have as many opportunities as David Montgomery early in the season, but he might overtake Jordan Howard and other guys in that on that roster and get to that point. The unfortunate part is that Jordan Howard's not going anywhere. So, and that whole argument was like, if you go back and you look at that now, really doesn't matter. Both guys stunk this year in multiple ways, but Miles Sanders has actually been relatively decent. My only thing is that, like, going into next year, is Miles Sanders going to be playing second fiddle to Jordan Howard again? Because he really is. If he gets, if he has the starting role and he plays 100% of the opportunity and gets like 65 to 70% of the work, right? And he is a workhorse. Then Miles Sanders is like one of my favorite running backs next year.
Yeah. But especially if he goes under the radar.
If Jordan Howard continues to be that 50-50 situation.
I want to see Jordan Howard play. He hasn't played
since like he was actually not bad when he played.
I want to see if they just give it to Jordan Howard again, or if they
split. If they split it, yeah.
Like what they do.
He might come back this week, so we'll see. Then the other thing, another guy that I'm really excited about, like I said, we have a whole offseason to talk about, but A.J. Brown is a freaking monster. He had 31. This is his last 4 weeks, right? He had a crappy 6-point week 2 weeks ago. But he's had I think it was a 21, 31, and then 21-point game in 3 out of the last 4 weeks.
Sheesh.
See, he's had that second half of the season breakout that rookie wide receivers usually have. And he could actually be a league winner this week if you start A.J. Brown in your championship game, in your flex or something like that. He could be a league winner. Ryan Tannehill has had 2 really good matchups the last couple weeks. And this week it gets easier, and they're at home again. So, I mean, it's for them, it's just A.J. Brown could probably have a really great week again. Just watching him, he's big, he's fast, and there's not a lot of people that can stop him on routes. Corey Davis, it's literally it's like a carbon copy of Corey Davis. They kind of do the same things. They actually throw it to AJ Brown. So I'm excited to see what AJ Brown does next year. But for the end of the season, I would start him this week.
Oh, you might.
I would say yeah.
Yeah, especially. Actually, yes. I was gonna say if you have injuries, but even not.
Yeah, you might.
Unless your two receivers.
See, I thought this week was like a
Hopkins and
this really or early in the season, I had Chris Godwin, and I started him at my flex almost every single week, just because, or for the first 3 weeks, just because I didn't have anyone for my flex. But I usually like to take 3 weeks before a guy has a real breakout. So 1 week is good. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks is okay, something's happening. You get 3 really good weeks in a row, then that usually means you're breaking out. You know what I mean? And it's that's before I trust a guy to even put him in my starting lineup, which sounds kind of stupid, but you know what I mean? A lot of the AJ Brown hype this week, I was like, okay, let's see what we get from AJ Brown. You know what I mean? Was there any notes that you wanted to get to?
I wanted to just briefly bring up a few things.
Whoa. Keep that voice crack to yourself.
Sorry. Gosh. George Kittle had 17 targets this week. He had 13 catches and 134 yards.
What the frick, dude?
That dude is a monster.
I love... Okay, I saw an article earlier this week. George Kittle is better than Gronk. Agree or disagree?
No, disagree.
Okay, yeah. So that everyone's going...
He is the best tight end in the league, though.
Better than Kelsey?
Think, yes. Fantasy-wise, no.
See, I think Kelsey's a tool bag. But
I'm talking football, not
football-wise. See, I would even say Kelsey.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you know what? It depends on... Right now, I think they're both equivalent in terms of pass catching.
And Kittle is the number one pass blocking or tight end blocker in the league as well.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
He's the number one tight end blocker and the number 2 receiver.
See, that's what
and
Gronk
then Kelsey's
did.
the number 1 receiver, but he's number
when everyone was like, Gronk's going in decline, I was like, no, he's still blocking like an insane maniac.
Hey, and you were roasting me on even my fantasy Kittle love.
Yes.
Especially the first few weeks. Since week 5, he has 17, 14, 5, 11, 16.
Say 5 20, really fast.
21, 2, 15, 19. So he's had 2 bad weeks and 6 dominant weeks.
That's crazy.
Or 5 dominant weeks. Did not count. Barkley showed up again this week. 28 fantasy points.
That's good.
Finally showed up. And then Jameis Winston continues to be a fantasy.
2v4.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's crazy. Let's talk about some waiver wire additions. And then get into our QB streamers for week 16. Your streaming quarterbacks.
Yeah,
so week 16.
In week 16.
Well, hold on a second, boss.
Okay.
You're gonna give us our QB streamer
no,
the QB streamer sesh?
I'm in the waiver wires.
Oh, so you're jumping into the running backs in the waiver wire.
Yes.
He's already
at this point, I was just gonna say.
Yeah, go ahead.
At this point in the season, week 16 championship week, you're probably not adding somebody to start.
What if there's injuries?
That is the only reason why you would do that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about this for the next 2 weeks. If you're a week 16 championship team, you don't need to worry about having your handcuffs because it's virtually worthless at this point to have them. This is what I'll tell people. Don't drop anybody important, but all the guys that on your bench that you would never start and the other team in your league would never start,
you can drop.
You can drop and pick up guys that you think are going to be good matchups and guys that you want to have on your team for this week. If you want to block the other team from getting somebody, block them from getting somebody. Just go for it. You don't need that third defense on your team anymore. Why are you wasting your time with that?
You have absolutely nothing to waste this week.
Yeah, you have nothing to if you have waiver budget left, blow it. Just everything. This is the waiver wire of the season for you. So, everyone keeps talking. I wanted to bring this guy up because I think we need to have a substantive discussion about him. I've overlooked him every single week. It is maybe the grossest player that I think anybody in this industry has really hyped up.
Who?
Patrick Laird of the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
He had 12 rushes this week.
Baller.
46 yards, 3.8 yards a carry. He had two receptions on 5 targets for 8 yards and no touchdowns. But you know what, Rick?
What?
His snap percentage went up. So let's grab him. Let's get him.
Okay.
Start him in our Week 16 matchup. A Miami Dolphins running back. Let's start him because he's playing Cincinnati so he can get 6 points. I mean, come on, guys.
Well,
let's be legitimate. I don't want you anywhere near. If Patrick Laird goes out and gets 20 points, I will come on this podcast and I will say I was wrong. But I do not want to hear about Patrick Laird for the rest of my life.
I don't disagree with you necessarily. However, I will say this. If you're at the point of the season where you're picking up a waiver running back to start in Week 16 in your championship week, there is not really many options. So Patrick Laird might actually be a good option.
Lard, what is it?
I don't know. Laird, Larry Bird, who cares?
Who cares? I don't like Patrick Laird at all.
Who are you going to pick up over him?
Kerryon Johnson.
He's okay, so
owned in 37.1%.
I think if Kerryon is available, sure.
He's like, go after him.
If Kerryon is not available.
He's the number 3 guy available right now.
Yeah, that's nuts.
What the frick?
That's nuts that he's only owned in 37% of leagues.
Yeah, everyone dropped him.
That's so.
You held on to him like a clown shoe.
I have an IR spot. What else am I going to use it for?
That is a fair point. Fair point.
But who are you going to... So, Kerryon's owned. Let's say Kerryon's owned. Who are you going to pick up to start?
I would rather start Tony Pollard behind Zeke.
Oh, stop it. No way.
He had 100 yards in a
touchdown because they creamed the other team. Chances are the Cowboys aren't going to do that every week because they're 7-7.
They're playing Philly.
Oh, well, maybe.
I could actually see that being a blowout, by the way. To be honest with you, there's no one like... Okay, so there's one guy that I would say yes, maybe. But I'm curious. How many leagues is Alexander Madison owned in?
Oh.
I'm going to look up the percentage on Fantasy Pros just to see what that would be, because if he is available in your league...
He might not play this week, and that's why... what's his name? Mike Boone or something? He missed this week. Mike Boone. That's why he's number 1 on this list for waiver wire pickups. But I don't know why he's number 1, because I'm pretty sure Dalvin Cook will play this week.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say that Mike Boone is worth... This is one of those...
If Cook doesn't play, though...
If you have $50, your $200 waiver budget left, what are you still holding on to it for? I would spend it on Mike Boone just because you don't have literally... Like, if you need a running back, a flex running back for this week, you might as well shoot your shot and try to get Mike Boone if... There's nobody else available. I don't... What is wrong with Madison?
He had an ankle injury, I think.
So is he out this week?
He missed this past week. There's no news on him for this upcoming week.
Interesting. All right.
That I can see.
Madison is owned in about 35% of leagues.
And NFL.com, he's only owned in 16%. So
if Alexander Madison is on your waiver wire and he is available to play this week, I would actually rather have him over Mike Boone. But both guys are out. Boone's the guy.
Yep.
I would take a shot with him. I don't know
and
that
Boone
I
had 2 touchdowns when Cook got injured.
But if the other team in your league needs a running back,
I still pick him up.
See, this is what
dirty.
Yeah, that's dirty.
Dirty way to play.
Listen. Patrick Laird, I did that this week. I spent another team, the team I was playing and I lost to, cursed me.
Did karma bite you for that move?
Yeah. He had $43. I had like $52, so I spent $44 on Jimmy Garoppolo because I knew he wanted him.
That might have been the difference too in your game.
Oh yeah, if he picked up Jimmy G and started him, he started Baker and got 18.
Yeah.
If I let him have Baker Mayfield,
it would have been close.
Or Jimmy Garoppolo, I would have been close. But anyway, I don't think there's a lot of other running backs that I would go after.
No, I don't think so.
Who is Peyton Barber playing this week?
I don't know why Barber's in the list. They split carries again.
I know they split carries.
And Ronald Jones had more yards, so I don't understand.
Oh, Bruce Arians is crying for a running back right now.
They're playing Houston, so it's a good matchup. But
yeah,
still, I mean, I think if you're going to pick up one, I would say Ronald Jones, but I don't want either. I'm not starting either.
This guy's going to have another 150 touch season, and he's only going to average 3.1 to 3.5 yards a carry again. Like, how bad is Peyton Barber? I made fun of Mike Davis last year, and Peyton Barber might be worse than Mike Davis.
I would rather have Mike Davis, probably.
I so bad. Like, and
I don't know.
He continues to be on rosters. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
I'd rather somebody go out and sign Colin Kaepernick as a running back. Freaking Peyton Barber.
Oh man.
Oh, dude, that's terrible. Is there really anyone else?
No.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to wide receivers. So the number one guy I think we'll both agree on to get out of the way is Breshard Perriman.
Yeah, he's my number one
with
guy.
With Perriman, so we've talked about how Chris Godwin has had this really easy schedule at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Same goes for Jameis Winston, which means Winston's going to have good weeks. I believe the Bucs have a matchup against the New Orleans Saints.
It's whatever the matchup is, it's good.
Yeah. So hold on, I'm gonna look.
They play They play Houston.
They play Houston.
Yeah.
Like we just went through that.
Yeah, I know we did just say that.
Idiots. But so that's gonna be a game where you gotta stay in it. So Winston's going to throw a lot with Chris Godwin potentially out, most likely out. Perryman and this other guy, Scotty Miller. I wouldn't go out and pick up Scotty Miller, but Breshard Perriman is probably the pickup of the week.
What about Justin Watson? How did he do last week?
I don't know.
But yeah, Perriman, if you listened to our show last week, he would already be on your team right now. Because
I was thinking I'm gonna go out and spite the team that I know that wants him in our league, but he already got picked up by the team.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, Miles picked him up.
Let's see. Oh yeah, Justin Watson he only had 2 catches.
Yeah, so. I think Justin Watson will be more involved now that Chris Godwin's out. But
probably a little bit because you said this last week that Watson wasn't he more of a slot receiver. And that didn't really
Chris Godwin plays that role.
Correct. And now that Godwin's out, you would think Watson would get more role.
So now Breshard Perriman is your new Mike Evans, and Justin Watson is your new Chris Godwin. So
and they're still going to throw the ball 50 times.
Good luck with that, fantasy people. I'll be working on 2020.
Yeah. But I think Perriman is, especially if you had a Godwin or you had...
I would blow all the rest of my waiver budget on Breshard Perriman.
Yeah. Agreed.
Now there are some other guys: Anthony Miller, Chris Conley, Danny Amendola. Are any of these guys?
No, probably not. I'm still interested in N'Keal Harry, but I was
gonna actually ask you that. N'Keal Harry and Deontay Johnson continue to be on this list every week. With N'Keal Harry, he's obviously a play with hopes that he gets a touchdown.
But who are they playing this week? It's Buffalo.
Yeah, that's not a good match.
In a probable snow game, too.
But, like, right now, it seems like the only... Are you serious?
It might be snow right now.
Flip.
So that would
legendary.
Be... Yeah, I don't know.
2 snow teams playing in snow games.
It's very early.
Is it in Buffalo or New England?
No, it's New England.
That's a great game. So, N'Keal Harry, he seems like he's a red zone target of Brady's for some reason, as of late. He's had like 2 or 3 red zone targets in the last 2 weeks. So I'm thinking that he could be a guy that catches a touchdown here.
He could.
Because Brady has no one to throw to. And so N'Keal Harry might be a good option if you need a touch. If you're desperate. The only reason why you're picking up guys off the waiver wire at this point is either to block the other team or you need somebody to start in your lineup this week. And then the other guy is Deontay Johnson. Pittsburgh had a tough matchup against Buffalo. I don't think Deontay Johnson had a good game last night or Sunday night, I believe. He had 62 yards on 5 catches, so that's not
great.
Terrible, but not great either.
Would you consider Greg Ward?
The Jets. Why?
Well, he's number 1 on this list.
Not in Philly.
Oh, he's not number 1 on this list. I don't know why.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
He was literally just number 1 on the list, and then I refreshed the page, and he went down to 5. That is so weird.
Greg Ward, I don't know that I want to take a player that I've never really seen or believed
in. The last 2, so he didn't play until week 12. Then in week 12 he had 7 targets. Mm-hmm. Week 13 he had 3. Against the Giants he had 9, and then this past week he had 9 targets, 7 receptions for 61 yards and a touchdown.
Wow.
So not bad. He's owned in NFL.com in 0.1% of leagues. So he's owned.
Yeah.
I probably would not go out of my way to pick him up.
Yeah.
But he might be the number one receiver in Philly right now. So because Philly's just so bad. So
yeah, that's true. I'm like Aguilar.
I believe Aguilar and Jeffrey are hurt.
That's
right?
so stupid.
So
all right. So if you are streaming the tight end position,
why?
Yeah, why? Who do you want this week? I actually kind of want to see what Gesicki did this past week.
You know who I want?
I don't think he did good, but
out of everybody who's probably available in your league,
8 targets, 4 receptions for 47 yards, 8 targets for Mike Gesicki. Man, if freaking
he's playing Cincy though,
Ryan Fitzpatrick didn't blow chunks.
I know. I might be interested in Noah Font for this week. Okay. I know he hasn't had a lot of targets at all, but he's going up against Detroit. He's got a decent matchup. If you are for some reason streaming tight ends, it'd either be him or Gesicki to me, not OJ Howard, who's number 1 on this list still.
Yeah,
who did have 8 targets this week, but he had 4 catches.
Same thing with Gesicki.
6. So if you're streaming tight ends, no matter what, you're probably gonna get like 5 or 6 points.
I mean, Godwin and.
I know that is true.
Like, is it time to go out and get OJ Howard?
It's still so gross.
You know, you spent your entire season running away from OJ Howard, and now you got to run to him for.
He's gonna get like 7 or 8 targets.
Yeah,
but what is he gonna do with those targets?
Well, I think
because this week he had 4 catches for 40 yards or something.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, 46 yards.
For me, the targets. Yeah, that's an important part of it. Like 8 targets is a lot. To me, when they get into the red zone, who are they throwing it to? It'd probably be Perriman,
baby,
and then OJ Howard.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
So OJ Howard, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and guarantee at least 1 red zone target for OJ Howard this week.
I was not even gonna say touchdown. I was like,
yeah, no.
What the flip?
But if he does catch a touchdown and he has 8 targets, and he gets in this game he had 46 yards. So it's like if he does
46 yards and a touchdown,
if he catches 50 yards and a touchdown, you have a decent performance from your tight end for the week.
I guess. I'd still rather lose a championship than play OJ Howard. Matchup. Never mind. Whoa. That's a little strong. But
he's like, that's a little strong.
I don't want to play OJ Howard.
You obviously forgot what it feels like to lose a championship.
Yeah, it's true.
It's been too long for you. All right, that'll do it for our waiver wire ads. I did want to mention Chris Herndon /
Oh yeah, forgot our
honorable mention that both of them aren't playing anymore. So
the ghost of Chris Herndon.
The ghost of Chris Herndon. The ghost of Chris Herndon, and no one else. Who's the third tight end? Let's talk really quick about our QB streamers and then end the show. My QB streamer for this week is Ryan Tannehill against New Orleans at home. This is gonna be a shootout. Ryan Tannehill in shootouts. Why not? Go for it. Stream him.
So once again, you took the only good QB streamer for like the 4th straight week.
Yeah, you should probably look into the show notes a little sooner.
Yeah. So I had to go deep digging last week. I gave you Mayfield, who was like so
Didn't
average.
Lose you the week.
No.
Didn't
and
win
I said that's what I said. I was like, if you really are super desperate, Mayfield has a good matchup. Got 18 points on our league. So you know who I'm saying this week? If you're super desperate, you're gonna hate this.
Who?
Phillip Rivers.
Ugh.
Home against the Raiders, who rank 31st against quarterbacks. It's a fantastic matchup.
Yeah, you're right.
And he's the 15th.
If you want 18 points in your fantasy championship, do it.
Yeah, he might get trash time 20.
That's crazy. That's so gross.
It is gross, but
that'll do it for our waiver wire ads and streaming options for week 16. Be sure to listen tomorrow as we discuss booms and busts. Go over some matchups for week 16. Yeah. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. We're
almost championship done. Week, dude.
We have 5 episodes to go in the regular season, and then we move back to the off season and wait 7 months for football. Well, we got a whole month of playoffs and
NFL playoffs.
Man, this season is like the fastest.
Yeah,
me and Rick are really big basketball fans. He's a big hockey fan. We both kind of like baseball.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to watch basketball and hockey for an entire season.
And then football is just like...
And football's like, boom, gone.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wait a second. It's already week 15, 16. Fantasy football's already over. But anyway, don't forget to check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And talk to you tomorrow, Fantasy Champs.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube. And follow us on Twitter at TheFFChamps.